Good evening, all. We will begin in 10 minutes. Hello, everyone in chat. Hope you're all doing well. Should we get started soon? To the person who was asking, I wonder what Neil does while we're waiting to start. The answer is kicks over glasses of water and then rushes to find a cloth to mop it up. So that's what I've been doing.
Round one. Fight!
I know I'm not muted. How are we all doing, everyone? Hello. Welcome to the live show. Yes, I know you can hear me. Hope you're all doing well. We've had a shuffle round for today's live show. I've got a massive TV screen in front of me so that I can actually, perhaps later, play a few games. I've got something on the desk here which you can't quite see. I've got a light gun next to me. And it's great to see so many of you here. I think we've got about 100 of you here. Hopefully the levels are good for you. Let me know and we can adjust. Music up or down? Mic up or down? We'll just wait for the last few people to join us. Yeah, it's like a newsreader set, isn't it? So hello Reese, hello Russell, hello Richard, hello Tim, Bitter Blitter, Velociraptor Dave, Zedstead, Clay Pillock. Music down, John. Music down. How's that? Alistair. Walden, hello everyone. Is that better for you with the music? Are we all happy? Good. Baz. Well, it's good to have you all here. So we're going to go through the usual things today that we do on the live show. If you're new to the live show, we go over what we did over the last month in the cave, what videos have come out. Any questions you want to fire at me, any behind the scenes questions, what went wrong, what blew up, ask away. I'll answer pretty much anything. We'll talk about what's coming up, and I will try not to give you any spoilers unless you want to know them. We're talking about public domain software this month, and I've had some of your video submissions. What blew up, Costado? Wait for it. We're going to talk about public domain software. We've got some restoration tips thanks to a viewer. It's going to help us with our big box games. What else have we got? Magazines, gaming, and we'll try and keep it to about an hour and a half. Last month we did the Get in the Bin segment, which was great fun, but I felt the stream. I can't expect you to watch me for 2 hours. So we'll try and keep it to a tight hour and a half, I think. And I hope you're well. What are you drinking tonight? I, as I mentioned, kicked my water all over the floor. And one of the drawbacks of this new cave is it's not at home, so I can't really have a beer because I got to drive home. Yes, 2 hours of Neil does require a beer. We're on the tea, Punk IPA, a few ales on the go. Nice. Estella. Nice. So let's have a look at what we've been... I expect you want to see what I'm doing with the light gun, don't you? Oh, yes. It's light gun cam. It's not just a light gun. There's the TV in front of me. I need to put like a crosshair on the camera, don't I? There's the cave down there. While I've got this on, I can show you my wood down there. Show you my wood later. So there we go. Light gun cam is now a thing. So what's been going on this month in the cave? How many screens? I'll show you my screens quickly. Screen that I'm playing on. Screen for changing the scenes. Chat screen. OBS screen. So yeah, quite a few screens. Sorry about the motion sickness. Yeah. So what have we been doing this month in the cave? And I say, any questions, just fire away. We started off the month with Trip Hawkins. Really enjoyed having the interview with Trip Hawkins. 8,500 views is it's a big one on the scale of retro tea breaks because they're not the most popular videos and they're quite long videos, so you've got to watch a lot of it for it to register a view. But I really enjoyed, thank you Reese, I really enjoyed the interview with him. He gave us a lot of new information that I hadn't seen in other interviews, and also the patron questions. Do you want the music down, Mark? We've already turned it down, but we can knock it down a bit more for you. There you go. And I've also since then interviewed a chap by the name of Richard Kay, who is the founder of Software Creations. You may be familiar with Software Creations if you were an 8-bit gamer. You want more music? Music up, music down. And Richard's company went on to become Acclaim, the Manchester arm of Acclaim. And I've got some patron answers, questions and answers from Richard, which we'll listen to today. They'll also go up on the Patreon website, so if you don't watch them today, you can catch them later. We went on to start the Commodore Amiga CD-TV Trash to Treasure. Part 1 was 2 weeks ago. Part 2 is now showing to the patrons. And I'm really enjoying playing with the CD-TV because it's one of those machines that I really wanted back in the day, couldn't justify, as I explained in the video, because I knew it was just an Amiga 500. And it's just such a nice thing to look at. And I don't know how many spoilers you want for part 3. Do you want to know what I'm doing on part 3, or do you want to wait and see? Spoilers, yes or no? And I must say a big thank you to Pillock in the chat, who has loaned me. Is it a loan, Pillock, or have you given it? I think he's given them to me, yeah. We'll just say he's given them to me. No, I know he's loaned them to me. It's a CD-TV, original CD-TV keyboard and mouse and disk drive, so that we can see the full CD-TV setup. The only thing I haven't got is that original monitor, but we can find a good substitute for that. So spoilers, yes. No spoilers. Spoil away. Oh. I think it's just Mark that's saying no spoilers. So I'll tell you now, put your fingers in your ears if you don't want to know what I'm working on, because I've been working on it today actually for part 3 of the CD-TV. I want to keep it as original as possible. I don't want to start drilling holes to mount hard drives inside it and things. So I've managed to get a SCSI card that does actually slot into the SCSI slot at the back. Why don't I just press play on that video while I'm talking? There's a SCSI slot at the back. Here's the back of it. We're about to get an advert anyway. God, who puts the adverts in these? So I've got a SCSI card to slot in. And then what I want to do is take a external SCSI box that you would mount, say, a CD-ROM drive in. And I want to put into that a 3.5-inch, there's your Atari for you, Reese, 3.5-inch adapter, so I can put a black Gotek drive into the box, which I'm going to spray black, by the way. So I'll have an external Gotek. I'll pause it there, actually. Exactly there is where the SCSI card goes to. So we'll have an external Gotek which plugs into the disk drive port, and that will be DF0. Oh, I'm also putting 8 meg in. And then also in that external box, I'm putting a SCSI to SD, so that's your hard drive. Now, the Gotek goes over the disk drive port. So the CD-TV will remain original, and then I'll have this little black box of modern things, so that we've got the SD hard drive and the Gotek in there. And also I can unplug that and plug it into other SCSI Amigas to use. So, yeah, that's what I want to do. And we'll see how it goes, because I haven't done it yet. I've just been gathering the parts to do it. So fingers crossed. I've ordered some black spray paint to spray this project box that I've got to do it with. So there's your spoilers. Let's go back. We'll just go over the last videos. Oh yeah, and then we did my DIY update. Now, your response to this was incredible. Music's gone very quiet. I hope you've been enjoying the DIY episodes. Considering we've done 2 episodes, let's get back to the... There you go. There's a very low resolution view. We've built the wall behind me. We've built the wall down there, for which I now have the wood to clad it. We've built the workbench, which still needs to be secured and done nicely. I've got the wood for the rest of the workbench down there. Excuse me, voice is cracking. And then I've got shelving as well. So after the next DIY episode, that whole area is going to be finished. I still need to put lighting up so that we can, you know, get a nice ambience around it, but it's all going to be finished and I can't wait. That means we can put systems out. That means we can put boxes on shelves and we can really start to get a feel for the final look of the place. And the wood that's going down there is not going to be as much of a feature as this wood here. As people keep pointing out, Amiga workbench color scheme wood. It's down there on the floor. I don't think you can see much of that, but it's a reclaimed weathered silver barn spruce. So it's been reclaimed from a barn, and it's a silvery spruce. And I didn't want it to be too much of a feature because you're going to have all of the machines and the big box games in front of it. You don't want to detract from all that niceness. So that will be the next DIY episode in a couple of weeks' time. Pew pew. Hello, Pete, again. Second time I've spoken to you today. Because as part of what I was talking about, the CDTV Part 2, the bits I was gathering, I bought a thing on eBay that I need as part of this process. And after I bought the thing, I got an email saying, "Oh, hi, Small World, it's me, Pete, Mad Pete in the chat." I bought the thing off of him unknowingly. So and he very quickly boxed it up and took it down to the post office. So thank you, Pete. Yes, Brazar says he's looking forward to the secret arcade. So in this episode, this DIY episode, we talked about if we get to just what would be an incredible number of 2,000 patrons, we would turn this space here into a secret arcade. We'd have a bookcase or something that swivels open, and I will fill that with neon lights, arcades, arcade carpets. It's a huge space. You can't really see it from there, but I would love to do that. And do you know what? The reaction to this video was incredible. 96 new patrons the week following the release of that video, which takes us up to about 1,178, I think it is. 76, something like that. It's not very secret when I announce it, is it, Reese? Derek, I really hope we can do it. So there's been that surge of new patrons. I've got to say, you guys are amazing. The conversion rate, if you like, the percentage of subscribers to patrons on the channel, 125,000 subscribers, I think I've got around about there, is 0.91%, so just under 1%, which is actually a really large number. For a channel of my size, we've got so much support, and I really appreciate it, guys. And I think a major part of that surge from this DIY video is just the fact that I can show you very physically where that support goes. You know, it doesn't just disappear into my pocket. It turns into all of this amazing stuff in the cave. So with a view to you being able to come and visit and enjoy it. So I really hope that continues, and maybe with each DIY video we can get a bit closer to that secret arcade goal. I don't think we'll get an R360 in here. Howard, thank you very much for the £5. That's very kind of you. Just lurking there, Howard, and then dropping the £5 bomb. Thank you. I hope you're well, mate. So yeah, there will be monthly DIY, and as I say, all the parts are here for the next DIY episode. And then finally, the Sinden light gun 2 days ago. Here it is, the Sinden light gun. I hope you enjoyed that episode. How many out there in the chat have actually ordered, have got, or are waiting for a Sinden light gun? Do you have one? Love to know your thoughts on it if anyone out there has one. I did get some interesting messages off the back of this. One is quite a valid message, and that's the fact that this is a black light gun with the orange tip there to show that it's a toy. But actually, I think toy guns in the UK, I think the law says that over 50% of it has to be a bright colour, like a bright blue or a bright orange. I don't think you're allowed to sell toy guns that are just black. So I don't know if I got this just for review purposes and he doesn't actually sell them as black in the UK, or if he's got round it, because I noticed on the box, I've got the box here actually. Jamie, thank you very much for the £5, Jamie Patterson. Very kind of you. With LeChuck as your avatar. So I'm wondering if he's got round this, because on the Sinden light gun box here it says USB computer games camera-based controller. So has he got around some of these legal issues by describing it as a camera-based controller and not a toy gun? I don't know. I don't think he'd get very... I don't think it would stand up in court if you held that up and said, no, it's not supposed to be a gun. Plus it says Sinden light gun down the side. My learned friend, yes, we have somebody representing the rule of the land. Just don't call it a gun. Retro box rooms came in a brown box. Dan says my Sinden's black. Okay, so he must. The guy's taken like 1.4 million pounds in Kickstarter and Indiegogo money to make this thing happen. He must have done his due diligence and his homework. He must know what he's doing. Surely. Is out. Now. They were good in the end, Ross. They were good in the end. Providing they hold true on their promise to take me to their expo. Linus's expo. £4.99 from Will Guyot. Thank you very much. You're being very generous today, guys. Thank you. I really appreciate it. So those are the videos. We've got coming up CDTV Part 3. We've got a review of a Pandora joystick. I'll show you this quickly. Do any of you have one of these? It's one of those Chinese joysticks with all the games built in. Any of you got one of those? Known as Pandoras, but they have other names. Custado says no. And Ravi says love the Gail Wellington clip. I'm glad you like that, Ravi. I'm going to make more of a habit of doing that when I have extras that don't really fit into the episodes. I'll just pop extra interview clips, outtakes, anything like that on the second channel. You're watching the second channel right now for this live stream, so if you're not already subscribed, do hit the subscribe button. Richard says no, he did consider one. Ian says he's got a monster joystick with a Pi 3. Vincent, thank you very much. Very kind of you. So, coming up is the joystick review with Mark from Mark Fixes Stuff. And if all goes to plan, Mark and I will be working together a lot more. I really enjoy working with Mark. He's an incredibly knowledgeable chap. He does indeed fix stuff. And I think we work well together on camera. So we're working together. In this lockdown, Mark and I have been in a bubble. So he's... imagine it. Mark Fixes Stuff is the one person I'm allowed to see. And because YouTube is his only work at the moment, and it's my job, we can legally work together. Of course, we work safely. We have masks. We do all of the rest of it. But he's been with me. There he is. He's in the chat, laughing away. And so we've been making some videos together. And actually, I hope you enjoy them, because if you do, what I'd like to do is give you more content. I'd like to give you 2 videos a week with the help of Mark, driving one of the videos per week. I'll be in it. You know, I'll still be presenting it, but he'll help me to put it all together. So that's my way of trying to get more content out to you. And if it goes well, we'll give it a month or so and we'll make it official. We will announce Mark as part of the team. But at the moment, you know, we're just seeing how it goes. Ah, Mark Central, 20 Canadian dollars. Looking forward to seeing the arcade. Thank you. Thank you, Pete. I enjoy working with Mark, but my God, the outtakes, I hope they never leak. The man is an innuendo machine. Guys, Jacob, thank you very much. When will the 3D printed Trevor the Tortoise models be available? How else can we play tribute to our Green Lord and Master? Well, I haven't got a 3D printed model, but I can do you this. If we go back to the laptop. And Ravi has one of these. I've seen Ravi there in the chat. This is in the RMC merch store. If I can find my way around my own shop. Where is my art? Have I got to accept the cookies? Accept the cookies, Neil. Aha, wall art. You can get yourself a Trevor the Tortoise poster. You can hang it on your wall. All hail our glorious leader. There you go. So it's not a 3D print, I'm afraid. Neil Thomas, thank you for the £5. Very kind and the best name in chat. Neil Thomas. Good, strong name. I don't know, Richard. I don't know. Some of the outtakes, oh, they make me blush. So I don't know if I should share all of them. So should we get on to our videos today? On the topic of public domain. I've had about five or six videos from you guys on your favourite public domain titles. Now, for those of you who don't know what public domain is or just want some clarification, this is October 1992 issue of Amiga Format here. And I just happened to be reading it, and on the PD update page, it's got jargon busting. What is PD? So instead of me trying to explain, I'll just read the damn thing. It says software in the public domain, or PD software, is marked out by the fact that it can be freely distributed. You are allowed to copy PD software from anyone and to give copies to anyone. It's widely available from small firms called PD libraries and also from bulletin boards that you can connect to if you have a modem. It's programmed by enthusiasts who want to share their work, and it comes in various flavors. The basic kind is freeware, which is completely free. Another common kind is shareware. The programmer asks you to send a small fee if you like the program, in return for which he or she will often help you with many problems that you may have and send you updated versions of the program. Another kind of PD is licenseware, for which a charge is made. It's akin to a very cheap commercial software and uses PD libraries for distributions, but it can be very good value. If you copy a PD disk, you are under a moral obligation to leave the disk exactly as it is, especially the README files, which explain how the program is used and give the programmer credit for all the hard work. The price of a PD disk from a library is usually around £2, so it's a great way to buy games, utilities and applications if you're on a limited budget. You can also get some superb demos which show off the Amiga's ability to produce stunning graphics and music sequences. So hopefully that explains it. You've basically got your freeware, your shareware, your licenseware. There's another mag here. And many of you will remember this. I just happened to be talking about Amiga magazines, but of course, freeware, shareware, it was on all systems. A really famous example, of course, being Doom from id Software. But here's another Amiga magazine, and these are the kind of adverts that I remember. Public domain adverts, where it's just a list of software. You probably can't read that, but you've got games, utilities, music, demos, None of them have got prices next to them because at the end it just says £1.25 per disc. Or for Amos public domain demos, £1.50. Or for Amos licenseware, which we just heard about, it's £3.50. So you would just pay for the discs. Naughty PD Pictures. Who said that? Ravi. I don't know if Keith is here from the Digital Orphanage, but he has a story. Sorry, went back to the ident there. He has a story about a local chap who used to run a public domain shop. And I don't see him in the chat, actually. I don't think he's here. But the chap who ran that public domain service got raided by the police because he was selling public domain discs with nuddy pictures on and no age checks, because we just didn't do it back then. It was a floppy disk. You didn't do anything like that. You just sold it. So yeah, he got raided by the police, and that was the end of his shop. So let's see what your suggestions are. Go back to the laptop. Filth, quite right, Tim. We're going to start with Derek from Flame Lily. I had a complaint on a previous stream that you guys didn't like seeing the order in which I was going to play things. So we're going to go random. Just because it's in that order, we're not going to play it in that order this time. So we'll knock down the music. Oh my goodness. I'm presented immediately by an Atari ST and a back office show mouse mat. This better be good.
Public domain, or PD software, or sometimes called free software, the precursor to open source. Wait, what? An Atari ST? What's that doing in a house of an Amstrad fanboy? This is an Atari ST running TOS.
Let's just take a moment to appreciate the beautiful green colour of TOS. Lovely.
What's this got to do with PD software, you say? Well, funny you should ask.
What's this? So I will shut up while you listen to the iconic Atari keyboard click.
Growing up with an 8-bit computer in the household, we looked at the Atari and Amiga of the 16-bit world in magazines and shop windows and wished we had the easy-to-use WIMP GEM type interface or Workbench interface. Sure, the basic command prompt is fast and powerful, but sometimes when it's late and you're tired, wouldn't it be nice just to use a point-and-click mouse-driven interface? So this is Disk for the Amstrad CPC, which was public domain software by DW Software from 1987. I'm sure you can see the inspiration for Disk. If it's good enough for Atari, it's good enough for the CPC.
Let's just pause it there and have a look. I've never seen this on an Amstrad, but it doesn't look far off TOS on the Atari, does it? I mean, less colours, but you've got your wastebasket down at the bottom left there. It did always surprise me, TOS on the Atari ST. Of course, I'm making comparisons to Workbench on the Amiga. It just seemed so simple, didn't it? So simple. Somebody made the decision to make it green and to add those clicky noises when you typed. Was it any good? Was it any good? I know we've got Reese is our big Atari fan in here. Was it any good? And also WIMP. The term WIMP doesn't get used enough these days. It got switched to GUI, didn't it? It was WIMP when I went to school.
This feat of public domain coding was created using only 22K of BASIC and 7K of machine code. At the top, there's a menu bar with disk, file and view options, and a large window with a filing cabinet icon representing disk A and a dustbin icon representing the wastebasket below it. You can select keyboard, joystick or AMX mouse control for the pointer, giving you the full feeling of GEM. So I for one take my hat off to these early PD coders who created this type of software, which with other commercial software like GEM from Digital Research has all clearly helped with paving the way to the GUI desktop interfaces we all use today.
Interesting. And, these things were done by enthusiasts who weren't being paid commercially. So to have replicated TOS so nicely is very good. And some of the benefits you were talking about in chat there about TOS was one, that it loaded from ROM, which is nice. Like that. Always loved that about systems like the Archimedes. You know, when it loaded from ROM, it bugged me. It bugged me when I moved to a PC and you had to wait for things to load from a hard disk. And then there was another. Well, a few of you were just saying that it's adequate, it's fine, it works, it's good. So, you know, don't judge TOS by its green background. TOS is the operating system. Sorry, Gem is the GUI. So don't judge Gem by its green background. Raspberry Pi runs from ROM. Good, thank you for that video, Derek. Enjoyed that. We're off to a flying start. Let's go to Naoki.
What do you get when you take Konami's dancing stage?
Sorry, I'm just going to take my volume down a bit there.
What do you get when you take Konami's dancing stage, or Dance Dance Revolution, and make it open source? You get Step Mania. This DDR clone is an open source recreation of Konami's long-standing arcade series. The reason I wanted to talk about this project is for two reasons.
Now, DDR, correct me if I'm wrong, that's Dance Dance Revolution, isn't it? I'm down with the kids. I know what DDR is.
One is that I love DDR. The big cabinets always took my focus back in the day in the arcade, and I still remember playing Euromix 2 every single time I went to my local bowling alley. Secondly, it's because I've also always wanted to own my own DDR cabinet. Now those things are big, expensive, and not exactly house or significant other friendly.
I see you, Naoki. I see you sneaking your channel name there, down at the bottom of the machine. Bit of sneaky advertising there. Slip it in, Neil won't notice. I see you.
So Stepmania is a nice alternative which won't break the bank, house or relationship. I've installed Stepmania 5 on my Windows box, and now I'm just going through and adding all of Euromix 2's songs and step files, and now it's the announcer files, and finally for the skin. There's no Euromix 2 skin. The closest I can
You're going to get me a copyright claim.
currently find is the excellent version of DDR Max 2, which is what Euromix 2 was based on. Oh, and I'm adding this DLL file and this line in the preferences in. See, Stepmania supports light out.
If you slow this video down to 5% speed, you've got all the instructions you need to set this up.
And DDR without stage light and big subwoofer neon rings would just be a glorified jukebox now, wouldn't it? Now for people with DDR cabinets, there is a way to make them work with Stepmania. Devices such as DIN's Lit board allows people with Stepmania to use their existing cabinet lighting with next to no other configuration.
Sorry to anyone with epilepsy out there. That looked like a Pi Zero based board. I think it was called a Lit board.
Cabinets, there is a way to make them work with Stepmania. Devices such as DIN's Lit board.
DIN's Lit board. So we've got a little Pi Zero, I think, on there. And a little board with all the connectors to connect up an original DDR arcade. That's cool. I like that.
Allows
Oh, an Arduino. Sorry. Thank you.
people with Stepmania to use their existing cabinet lighting with next to no other
Not a Pi. Yes, I stand corrected. Thank you, everyone. Sorry.
configuration. And a huge thank you to him for helping me to get these completely non-genuine cabinet lights going with Stepmania just for this video.
Dance Revolution!
And if you've ever wondered where my username comes from, 2 words.
Come on, everybody! And get on the fire!
Wow. So much information in a video, Naoki, and I loved every minute of it. Thank you very much for all the effort you put into these videos. And breathe. So Naoki fulfilled his dream of having a Dance Dance Revolution machine. Must keep you fit. I know Slopes from Slopes Game Room, Dan Ibbotson, is a massive DDR fan, and I've seen him play it very well. He'll take on all comers down at the expos, and he usually wins. Yeah, we could do with the Naoki Data Blast, couldn't we? Set your VCRs and pause on each screen for all the information you need. Thank you, Naoki. I had no idea you could do that with DDR. Let's go to our good friend Ian, Pixels at Dawn.
Hello, cave dwellers.
Hello. Let's knock your volume up. Look at that beautiful lockdown beard. You've got an old live show in the background with B-17 Flying Fortress. Beautiful. And a monster joystick, 10 points for that.
Now, when I think of public domain software, there's only really one platform to go to, and that's the Commodore Amiga. In those halcyon days in the 1990s when you'd fill out your stamped addressed envelope, chuck a couple of quid in and send it off to some bloke in his front room to send you back some okay software in a couple of days' time. I mean,
the triple X Scotch Egg Slideshow 3. Wow, he's worked his way through the first two Scotch Egg slideshows. Pillock, send us a copy, mate. Let me know where to send the stamped address envelope. I'd like some of that hot Scotch Egg slideshow action.
there are absolutely tons of these places around the country that I've been trying to map out recently, and it's really interesting. Cool. When it comes to games, there's only really one choice.
Sorry, I just want to skip.
There are absolutely tons of these places around the country that I've been trying to map out recently.
Cool. So Pixels has been going to the effort of mapping out all of the locations of the PD suppliers from back in the day. And I would hazard a guess that it's something to do with perhaps an article for Amiga Addict magazine, because he's dropping the subliminal advertising in again, as Naoki did with the tab at the top there on his web browser, Amiga Addict magazine. And also traditional Scotch egg recipes. Wow. Looking to cook up his own Scotch eggs. Yeah, Amiga Addict magazine, check it out. I'm sure you've heard of it because it's going great guns at the moment. Selling well, as it should, because it's a quality magazine.
And it's really interesting, but when it comes to games, it's only...
Oh, you can't see the Scotch egg tab, sorry. I promise it was up there at the top.
Really one choice, really.
Scorched Tanks is an artillery game that takes what prior games had done well, this is 2 years before Worms, remember, and perfects it on the Amiga platform. Now, of course, this is heavily inspired by Scorched Earth on the PC, but I prefer their chunkier graphics and the warmer feel of this game. As with many games of this type, you start off with a wad of cash, you get the ability to buy weapons and shields, and what weapons. Then my favourite will always be the over-the-top sunburst, just completely obliterating your enemies, but there's loads to choose from. It's a great party game, supports up to 4 players, but I mean, what other games let you bury your opponent alive in dirt, leaving them with no option but to kill themselves with their own ordnance trying to escape? It's just great. So that's Scorched Tanks.
I've played a lot of Scorched Earth. I haven't played that particular version of Scorched Tanks. I really love the look of it. Nice choice. Gorillas.basic, yeah. Oh, that's hit Ravi right in the nostalgia feels. Well, seeing as Pillock featured in Pixel's video, I think we should go to Pillock and see what he's got for us.
Oh, what's this? A 90-second video on the topic of public domain. Well, that's going to be really easy. There's loads of fantastic free software out there that I've used for years.
I see Philip's got his packet of Spam there in the window behind him. Not seeing any Scotch eggs today. No. But he's got that Spam there ready for lunch.
Let's take a look.
Hello, Gary.
So one bit of software in the public domain that I've always been impressed with is the mighty WinRAR. I've used this so much, and obviously it's... Oh, hang on. Please note that WinRAR is not free. What?
WinRAR is not free. After a 40-day trial period, you must either buy a license or remove it from your computer.
Oh, I never knew. Oh, well, that's screwed that up then. Okay, well, there's always games. Let's have a look at a game instead. Of course, growing up with the Amiga...
More Amiga. I think this is your new purchase, isn't it, Pillock? Correct me if I'm wrong. The Checkmate, the original Checkmate A1500 case there. LGR says hi. Oh, yes, he did a video, didn't he? LGR did a video on WinRAR. So Pillock picked that up, and I think it took a bit of a beating in the post. It survived, but I think the package was absolutely destroyed that it was sent in, I think.
You always had access to fantastic public domain software. Obviously, I've got a box of them here. There's loads of really playable games, but this one that always stands out is called Sensible World of Soccer. And this free software. What do you mean it's not free? Pirate? Oh, you meant to pay for this? Well, that's embarrassing. Scrap that. I'll have a think about something else.
Oh dear, we all did it.
So in all seriousness, I didn't really get into public domain in the era of ticking boxes in a magazine and sending a form off and getting a disc back. Really, I waited until CDs.
No, you were supplying them to Ian. You were supplying your dirty Scotch egg videos.
Started being included on magazine covers because they wanted to fill it every month. It would take you a month to go through playing all the games, trying all the utilities out, and for me that's the best memory of public domain.
There we go. So I had a very similar experience to you, Pillock. Let me show you this. This is one that I remember very fondly. It's the 17-bit collection for the Amiga CD-TV, but I had the A570 CD-ROM drive. And I'll just read from the back of it. It's a double CD, and it says, the most comprehensive collection of quality Amiga public domain and shareware on 2 CDs, over 1,000 megabytes of data in all. These CDs give you a wide range of games, animations, demos, graphics, if artwork, music modules, sound samples, clip art, games, utilities, home finance applications, and utilities. And also, and I love this, also included other classic demos from the top worldwide groups, such as LSD, Anarchy, Phenomena, Red Sector, Silence, Alcatraz, Crusaders, Rebels, Melon Designs, and many more. Important, and this is important, this product requires a floppy drive. Why does it require a floppy drive? I'll show you a clip here that I've got queued up. This is what happens when you put the CD in. It loads up like this. And then you have the index of slideshow disc. You have the index of everything that's on the CD. Hundreds and hundreds of public domain titles. But you can't actually load them from the CD. What you do is you put a floppy disk in the drive. You press this button. Oh, I'm on the wrong screen. Sorry, everyone. Let's rewind. Yes, I'll just let the chat catch up. I've managed not to mute myself. I just haven't shown you the screen. Sorry, everyone. So here it is. This is what you see when it loads up. And then you've got the list of public domain titles there. Pixels, yes, CDPD was another one. And then when you've chosen your public domain title, it's going to show it on the video. You press copy disk, you insert a blank disk, and it will write the title to floppy, and then you have to load it from floppy. You can't actually load it from CD. I had to check my mute button then, damn you. Yeah, it was annoying, Gary, but at the same time, it was still, the alternative was sending off a stamped addressed envelope in the post. So it was still quicker than that. And I think I went through every single title on these CDs. Every single title. And I found mega demos. I found games like Parachute Joust, which I played some months back. I swear Ports of Call was on here. Did anyone used to play a game called Ports of Call? And I swear I first played that on this CD. But it is actually a retail product, so maybe it was shareware or something like that. Yeah, Darren says, yeah, Ports of Call. People have played it, yeah. It was a really great game. I've got some more public domain stuff to show you, but let's get back to your videos. Who have we had then? We've had Pillock, we've had Pixels, we've got My Learned Friend. Oh.
Gonna need some help thinking about.
Wow. It's an actual book on retro computing lore. The 8th edition. I'm not convinced that's a real book.
Gonna need some help thinking about public domain.
You've got at least 100 points for the paraphernalia around there as well. Got my book, my card, my mug.
Let's see.
You're actually wearing your robe.
Yes. Really?
Pillock likes Scotch eggs. Pinkett, Gary, see Nipplegate and gross indecency. Avoid looking at the video. Don't make me play it. Pokemon, amazingly 25 years old. Poker, see Maria Whittaker and
maybe
Samantha
later.
Fox.
Here we are. Wow.
Public domain. These are the ways a work can become public domain. The copyright expired. The owners failed to renew a copyright. Automatic in the UK after 1957 and 64 in the US. Copyright not less than 50 years under both jurisdictions.
That rules out a lot of stuff. No.
Oh, shareware and freeware are not public domains. Someone owns the copyright even if they let you have it for free. We're getting into the nitty gritty now.
No.
Abandonware is a funny one because abandonware websites cropped up everywhere, didn't they? And they're still a thing today. But I think it was always clear from the start that abandonware, it wasn't really legit, was it? Unless a company has actually said, we're abandoning this product. Yes, now we're talking.
Looking back on the Amiga demos was great, but I did find one genuine PD game in the course of my research, and it's this, the granddaddy of them all, Space War from 1962, and that's as retro as it gets. Back to Neil in the studio.
Fantastic. So Space War has just naturally expired, has it? Any copyrights to do with it because of its age and the 50 years? Is that what's happened, my learned friend? That's some funny stereo separation. That's the Amiga for you. Stereo separation all the way. Oh, the owners put it into the public domain. Okay, cool. Great video. Thank you. So those were your PD submissions. I've got one more thing to show you on the topic of PD. We're going to have to use the Sinden light gun. And hopefully I won't chuck this all over the floor. Oh, that's another CD that I just happen to have. Let's go to that scene. Hottest 4. I think that was quite a common one. A comprehensive collection of the very best and most up-to-date shareware and public domain software. 1994. But what I really want to show you is this. Box of discs. I'll get the light gun. Let's have our music back, shall we? What's in the box? Well, let's slide it open. It's a box of beautifully labelled. Hang on, I'm going to struggle to hold this and open it. Let's pop it under the armpit. Some good gun discipline. These are all public domain discs. Music. Sanity presents Yesterday. See what else we've got. They're all labelled PDG 060. Bomb Jackie, great platform action. I love the pictures on these. Doesn't that make you want to play it? Bomb Jackie. What else have we got? Animation demos. TRSI Misery Mega Demo. These are all legit PD. These aren't pirated or anything like that. We've got Fred Fish disc here. Fred Fish was popular. Big Bang Wildfire. It's kind of relevant. There's a fish on the box. Fatal Mission. £3.50. We've got IBM PC emulator. There was a ZX Spectrum emulator in there somewhere. Ultimate Star Trek. That one doesn't work on a 500 for some reason. But no, these aren't from magazines. Well, I don't know. Yeah, they might have been bought from magazines. I don't know. Oh, look at this one. Ming Shu, Chinese Astrology. There's a young Gary there, just doing some Chinese astrology. So maybe when we've got an Amiga hooked up, we can go through this. 3 ways to stop smoking. Oh wow, I didn't know I had this on disc. I've actually got Parachute Joust on floppy. I'm really happy about that. Yeah, it did say maths tutorial on the astrology, didn't it? E-type 2. So there you go. We'll have to go through those one day and just see how wonderful or terrible they are. I won't try and wedge them in there. Let's put these away. So it's a cool little box of things, isn't it? Yeah, Gary, we'll go through them together. And of course, who can forget this classic? Horse Alchemist and U2. We've all played that one. You don't need me to tell you about that. We've all played that game. So what are we going to do next? Next up, we've got a couple more videos. And let's make sure you're on the right screen. We've got some tips for those of you who like to collect big box games and keep them in tip-top condition. RoboJohn was sharing some images of big box games that he'd restored that had been like crushed and creased and all the rest of it. And he's put a video together, just a couple of minutes, sharing his tips on how to restore those boxes. So let's have a look.
Hello, here is a very quick video on my method of straightening out squashed big box boxes. It can be really frustrating when you receive a box in this condition. However, in this case I knew the condition of the box as I ordered it. I wanted a good example to show how I at least attempt to restore some of its shape. I've had varying levels of success, but in all cases I'd say that it has been a marked improvement. The first thing you're going to need is some hot water, a sponge or a cloth, and get those creases really wet.
RoboJohn is in the chat and he says, disclaimer, do this at your own risk. So you have been warned.
You'll know when they're wet enough, because the box will go quite soft like this, and you'll be able to push the creases out with your fingers.
I have I have the exact same box here, Screamer 2, with a crease in the exact same place. It's not as deep as the crease you've got. But maybe I'll try it.
And they'll stay pretty much where you want them to go. Then we use some 5mm foam board or whatever you have, which is similar, and both sides, just to get as much of the effect of pressing it together as possible. I'm using pairs of rare earth magnets to act as the press for this board. These are rated at 10 kilograms of force, which seems to be enough. These are great for closed boxes where you can't use clamps and are really easy to reposition.
10 kilograms of force from those tiny little magnets. That's impressive. Put it in the dishwasher, says Reese. I don't think that's good advice. It does look strange. Some of you said it seems weird, like making it so moist. Something that's precious to you, just dousing it in water, does seem a bit counterintuitive.
I like to try and move these to where the worst of the creases are. I'm only concentrating on the upper left of the box at the moment, but I will go over the whole box with the same technique. But you can move these things right to where the problem areas are. And there's a big crease right where I'm putting the magnet now. Please also mind your fingers and keep these magnets away from any magnetic media because it will destroy them. I'm also adding some support for the side of the box here because it was quite damp and I don't want this to go out of shape. And here's one I've been baking for the last few hours.
Oh, there's a box I haven't seen for years. I had that exact thing. Dragon's Lair, I bought it with a RAM upgrade.
If when you remove the clamps it's still damp, replace the clamps and leave it for a little bit longer.
Look at that.
Here's the end result. I'm really quite happy with it. It's not got rid of all of the creases, but it's a lot flatter than it was before, and it certainly isn't crushed. I'm actually quite happy with that, and here's one that was properly crushed before I started, and now seems to be a lot better. Again, it's not perfect.
Dragon's Lair, it's such a flimsy box, and it's taking the weight of, what is it, 12, 16 floppy disks? So many disks in that box, and they're all concertinaed up, so they fold out. So you've done a great job on that one as well. Yeah, I don't think you can get the creases out by pressing. I don't think there's much you can do about the creases, but you've certainly got the shape back nicely.
But it's a much more presentable and respectable condition than it was. Thank you for watching.
Very nice. So a bit of moisture, some clamping, and a bit of heat. Definitely going to give that a try. Got the same game here. You can see the same, this side, the same crease. I did dig this one out, which is even more creased, which is, you can't see that so much. You can see there's a dip in the top. You can see how it dips. International Rugby Challenge by Domark. And I picked this one out because I thought, do you know what? If I don't get it right, I don't think it's going to annoy too many people if I mess that one up. I don't think too many people are emotionally attached to International Rugby Challenge. So, yeah, I find that really useful, and I'm going to do some experiments. And if anyone else out there has got some tips that they want to share on keeping your big boxes in tip-top condition, then please send a video in and I'll be happy to play it. Some things just sound wrong, don't they? Spent too much time with Mark. Yeah, there you go, Monster Joysticks. Thank you, John. Thank you so much for taking the time to show us that, and do keep showing us your pictures in the Discord chat of how these things are coming along. Now, Richard Kay from the Software Creations team, well, the founder of Software Creations, is an upcoming tea break, and I put to him the patron, the official Cave Dwellers questions. And here's a clip. It's about 10 minutes long of the 5 questions that the patrons wanted to put to him. If you're interested, then I hope you enjoy it. If not, use it as a chance to go make a cup of tea. But I think he's got some fascinating answers. So let's see what Richard's got to say. First question's from Greg. He says, well, first of all, he says, I never knew or noticed that software helps if you can see the screen. There we go. first question's from Greg. He says, well, first of all, he says, I never knew or noticed that Software Creations were responsible for the C64 version of Bubble Bobble, and I have to say it's my favourite go-to version of the game. Please pass on my gratitude for the hours I spent as a child playing Bubble Bobble with my best mate. And he and also Reese go on to ask, back in the early days, arcade companies didn't really help small software companies with game conversions, but what was the experience like for you? If you had no help from Taito, I'm never quite sure how to say it. Is it Taito?
Yes, Taito.
If you had no help from Taito, how did they work out?
Taito.
How did you work out the hidden parts of games like level jumps and surprises if you got to level 20 without losing a life? How did you figure all these things out without the help from the arcade companies?
Well, it depends. Sometimes, I mean, with the Bubble Bobble, you had to play the game all the way through. We did sometimes get maps, but a lot of the time we'd take the ROM and download the graphics and try and reverse engineer it. They weren't very helpful. Sometimes they were, but more often than not, you'd have to play the game and work out, you know, like on Bubble Bobble, how far it jumped and when certain things would happen. So we had a bit of artistic sort of license to do that, but we very rarely got any help. Half the time, I just don't think, because it's our intellectual property. So, no, we didn't get very much help. And that was part of the challenge. You'd have guys sitting there with pads and drawing out the maps. So I don't ever remember getting much data from any of the conversions.
Right, okay.
Ever.
So you were pretty much blindfolded then on a lot of these. Yeah.
The only thing we got was the actual board. The only thing we got was the actual hardware. It'd give us that. And the cabinet.
I've sometimes heard stories of the ROMs, you know, have actually reverse engineering. If it was a 6502 board and they were using a 6502 based computer, they would actually just reverse engineer the code. And I think one of the Acorn developers was a bit renowned for doing that, because sometimes bugs that were in the arcade would appear in the home conversion, which could only exist if they just ripped out the ROMs. Did you ever participate in that kind of activity?
No, we never. I don't think we ever did that, actually, because often, I mean, you would still need to know which bits are hardware related and which ones are logic related, and it would be, you know, more often than not, it'd be quicker. I think we did think about doing that, unless they gave you the actual code, which I don't know why they didn't, because then you could emulate the logic, because that's the most important thing. How high does something go? When does it do this? So I don't think we ever did it. But I think sometimes we downloaded the graphics and then just converted from there. But we never got the maps or anything like that.
Okay. Mark asks, what console or computer was the most fun to work on and why?
Well, that's a good one. I would probably say the NES, because it was the first time we'd done consoles, and it just felt... It was just so nice to have this where you have your game, you plug it in and work away. And it was a challenging machine. That, you know, the NES was a very challenging machine to get anything out of. And we again pushed the limits of the music side of things, because the music samples had to sit in memory and you couldn't change them. But Mike found a way of doing this in between the levels as you were moving from one level to other. He'd cross over the samples, so there were certain samples in one side that were in the other. So when when you were going through different levels, you'd still hear part of the sound, and then Tim would then phase in the new parts. But you couldn't normally do that. But Mike found in the vertical raster interrupt, he could because you could only do it on the DMA, the dynamic memory stuff. So Mike worked out a way of doing that. So it was a challenging machine. As you get into the bigger machines, they're not as challenging, because you've got, you know, the Super NES was an 8-bit stroke 16-bit processor, and it just got less fun as you got on, because it took 64-bit. You needed so many graphics. It took so long. Whereas the 8-bits, the NES, you saw the fruits of your labour much quickly. So I would say the NES, but the Game Boy was an interesting one. I quite like that one as well. Mm-hmm. I remember when I got the phone call for the Game Boy, when they phoned up and they said, "Oh, we've got this new machine called the Game Boy." I said, "The game what?" And it's 4-player. So, okay, and they sent one over, and that was challenging. So I would say for me, the NES and the Game Boy. But I love the BBC Micro. I've still got mine upstairs, and I still program it. it's still a great machine. But in terms of the business, yeah, I still got it. I've still got the B Micro, and I chat to Kevin Edwards about it. And I think I've just appeared in I think it's BBC in Pixels or something, a new book that's come out.
Oh, yes.
I've just appeared in that.
Yeah, lovely book.
I've not got a copy yet.
Is it the Acorn in Pixels? Something like that. But yeah, it's a really nice book. Yeah.
It looks like they've done a beautiful job. So for me, personally, the B Micro to work on, you couldn't slow it down, even if your code was sloppy, which mine was. You still had to put delay loops in there. But in terms for the business, I think the NES and the Game Boy, because it was that newness of a console. Everything else after that was never quite the same.
Excellent. Mark also asks about prototypes and, or dev kits, which we've talked about in the main chat quite a lot. But were there any other prototypes that you came across, systems that were never released, things like the Conix multi-system or anything like that? Did you get to see anything that was never released?
Yeah, there was one that didn't come out. Which console? There was a 16-bit console that never came out. I can't remember its name. I'll try and find out for you. We can put it in the comments. But
anyone in the chat, can you think of 16-bit consoles that didn't come out? Because I couldn't think of this one. Wasn't sure what he was talking about.
But there is one that didn't come out, and we did get the dev kit for that. But apart from that, we did all our own dev kits, and then we were supplied by Nintendo. I mean, they were a fortune. You would I think sort of that's.
Well, I did mention the Conix multi-system there in the question, and he didn't bite on that. The Apple Pippin came out. That was released. And was the Conix even 16-bit? Was the Panther a 16-bit? Maybe. The Amstrad GX 8000. Do the math, Dave.
$60,000 a dev kit for the Super NES. They weren't cheap. But they did that on purpose. They wanted to make sure you had the means to develop. So no, there was nothing that didn't come out that we worked on. Apart from one, I can't remember the name of it.
If that mystery machine comes back to you, yeah, do let me know. I'd love to know what that was. A couple more questions now. Paul asks, what was the coolest or the most bizarre bit of Software Creations promotional material that you can remember? And do you still have any of it?
No, I can tell you. It's a good question, and hopefully it won't take too long with the answer. Solstice, CSG, ImageSoft. So I thought I'll take them a present with me. It wasn't the wisest move. So they had, I mean, the wizard on Solstice for Europe looked like a wizard. Mm-hmm. The wizard on for CSG ImageSoft, and if you look at it, he looks like, I hope I can say this on here, a 60s porn star. Not that I would know what one looks like. But go and have a look at CSG ImageSoft's wizard. It's weird. And so I said to the guy, I said, right, I want to take Sony a present. And so we created for them an oil painting of the front cover of this thing, but it was in oil and it got finished the night before. And this thing is, I mean, it's massive. I mean, it was an under the arm job, and we had to put it in this frame. And then there's another. Yeah, so I took that. So we took that with us, and we had to take it on the plane. It was. I mean, who carries a wet oil painting to Sony? The funniest story was we were doing a game which was by John and Steve Pickford. It was a game called Moon Jelly.
Okay.
So we didn't quite get the thing sold, but the idea was brilliant. So the Moon Jelly, the character, I can't remember his name now. I'm sure Stephen, John can tell us. I created, because of my contacts with Cosgrove, and I wanted to support them and give them some work, we had a maquette made of this character.
Right.
And I did it on purpose. And I had this thing was about this big, and I thought, what can I carry it in? It was CES was coming up, and I want to take this around to all the publishers. So not only do I want to present the idea of the game, I actually want to show them a full physical character so you could see what marketing you could do with it. So we got this maquette made by the people who did Chult and the Wheelies, so it was beautifully made maquette. And I couldn't find what the hell can I take this thing in? And I had a microscope, don't ask me why, but I had a microscope. So I took the microscope out and put this maquette in it. The whole of the CS were talking about, what on earth is that weird bloke from Manchester doing with it was a brown, I've got the case, so I'm still in there. I haven't got the maquette though, which is a shame. And it created, so people wanted to know, and publishers were saying, what have you got in there? And it was a beautiful looking thing, hand painted. And we got very close to selling the game. I don't quite know what happened. but it didn't. But that was the weirdest. That and the oil painting.
Oh, that would
I
have
still
been a nice
remember
thing
them today.
to still have, to pop on your shelf there behind you.
I know.
That would have been nice, yeah. And then the final question's from Johannes. He says, the European C64 port of Bionic Commando is absolutely incredible, one of my favourite arcade ports of all time. Would be fun to know if you knew about the abysmal US port when you were making it. Were you aware of competing ports?
Sure, did we do the US? I don't think we did
I
the
hope
US.
he hasn't got it the wrong way round.
Well, I mean, again, Steve Ruddy did the. I mean, that technically was very difficult to do, and they said that couldn't be done because of the, the long arm that came out, and that was Steve Ruddy again. I mean, credit to him. But we didn't do any of the US ones, and not as far as I know, because I think it'd already been done. I think it did embarrass them on the other side of the pond.
Yeah. I mean, it's unusual, isn't it? Because you did often get two companies porting for exactly the same machine in different parts of the world. It's a strange situation because it's such an international business. But there we go.
It was we thought we got at the time why we never got the US ports. We started to get them. I think Puzznick was worldwide one that we did for them. Good little game.
Wonderful. Well, thank you again for your time, Richard. Those are all the questions from the
More than
patrons.
welcome.
It's been wonderful. There we go. That's just the patron questions from the chat with Richard. Lovely, lovely guy. There we go. Very easy to talk to. Lots of great stories. I saw some comments from you guys asking, does he live in a castle? I think he's pretty much retired and he lives on the island of Jersey, which I think it's quite well known as sort of a tax haven, where a lot of well-to-do bankers or ex-bankers like to go and live. So he probably does live in a castle. I think he's done all right for himself. Hello to Kevin. Who else joined? Did I see there? A couple of people said hello. Hello to Mean Machine Dean. Good to see you here. Yeah, nice guy. There's about an hour and a half long interview, which I've just about finished editing up, so I'll get that out to you next week, and I hope you enjoy it. As I say, I know these aren't my most popular videos, but they're some of the things that I really enjoy making the most. I love talking to these people, people like that, like Gail Wellington, and I can't promise you anything at all, but I did have a message today with a possible lead, and don't hold me to this, a slim possible lead to a conversation in the future with Nolan Bushnell, and that would be incredible if we can make that happen. So I'll keep you posted on how that goes. And I've also been enjoying weaving some of these interviews, now that I'm building up contacts, weaving them into some of the Trash to Treasures like I'm doing with the CDTV, because I can tell a story, but it's just so much more authentic when it comes from the mouths of the people that were there. So that'd be great. Yeah, it would be awesome, wouldn't it? We can ask him all about Chuck E. Cheese. So something else. Oh, we're going to do an unboxing. Let's do an unboxing because I am moving my unboxings to a video format in itself, like you saw with the last unboxing video. Let me just switch to the gun. You can just about see a pile of boxes in the corner there by the white pillar. It looks like a mess, but they are nicely stacked there. Those are all the unboxings for the next unboxing. That's all the stuff that's arrived in the last month or so. There's a lot of stuff there. But there's one box that I've picked out that I cannot wait to open. Very kindly sent all the way from the US. I don't know how best to get the camera on this for you. I think what I'll do is I'm just going to cut the tape open, and then I'm going to walk up to the camera and open the lid, because I know what's in here. It's pretty special. And I hope they put a note in to say who it's from. I think it's, Martin, I think it's just a question of time. You know, people don't always have an hour and a half or 2 hours to sit and watch an interview. Ronnie Graham, here's a wee donation. Thank you very much, Ronnie. Very kind of you. Yeah, it does. Do you know what? I've made a bracket for a dolly cam, and I used it in the last unboxing video. So I could get that up for future things. The thing with the live streams is, there is a letter in here. The thing with the live streams is, I'm at the limit of how many USB devices I can plug into the stream PC without making it fall over. So I can only get so many cameras in. I need some kind of switching box that I put all the HDMI into and switch from there. So it's just one USB device. If anyone's got any suggestions for such a box, that would be great. Hi, Neil. Enclosed is... I'm not going to spoil it for you. We found this in a storage unit amongst a large collection of Commodore kit. It was the craziest storage unit we've done to date. I don't know if you have storage unit auctions in the UK, but there are sites here that you can review pictures of the contents of a storage unit. They don't open anything, and you can bid on them. It sounds very much like Storage Hunters. I've seen that, or Storage Wars, or whatever it's called. I've seen that TV show. We've become quite good at winning units with higher value items for a low price. My wife and I both got laid off at the beginning of the pandemic, and we decided to do what we've always wanted to do, to run a resale shop. Since in-person business dropped drastically, we turned to eBay, and I'm happy to report that we're now making a decent living running our resale business, HK Resale, full time. I'm happy to read out that address. That's ebay.com/str/HK Resale. I'm a huge fan of RMC. I watch every video you release as soon as I can get my hands on it, and I have exhausted your back catalogue. Ooh, my back catalogue is exhausted. I want to thank you for making something wonderful. Since watching your channel, I've begun to collect some retro computers myself. We hope you enjoy the... I nearly said what it was there. From Kyle and Holly at HK Retail. Well, thank you so much for watching the videos, and thank you for sending this thing, which is in another box. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to walk up to the camera so you can see. Oh, there was a donation there. Thank you, Magnus. Thank you very much. I need the knife. I don't want to damage this. So what we've got here is a still sealed, brand new old stock Psygnosis, incredibly collectible, of course. The Psygnosis games are beautiful with the Roger Dean artwork on the front. I'm assuming that's Roger Dean as well. It looks like his style. And Amnios, penetrate the living hell that is Amnios. Counter your comparatively diminutive ship against the merciless might of 10 living, breathing planets in an audacious endeavour to rescue imprisoned members of your own persuasion. Pick up indigenous DNA and utilise it to fabricate enhanced weaponry to abet your pestilent... No. What the hell word is that? Pestilential quest. That's the first time I've used the word pestilential, I have to say. And then it says, forget the bull, just get in there and save the world. Well, the seal is kind of broken at the bottom there, so it may actually be that the owner of this... Oh no, it's still round the corner. No, I think that's just split naturally. Oh, I'm not going to open it. I'm not going to open it. But very kindly, because thank you, Keith. Really enjoying the stream. Here's some coppers for the cave. Thank you, Keith. Very much appreciate it. Flame Lily says get in the bin. I'm not putting this in the bin. I don't know if this is a good game or not. But I contacted Gary, who was in the chat earlier, and Gary is a collector of all things Psygnosis, or at least he is on his Atari ST. I think it's the Atari ST collection that he's got. And he doesn't have this one. He hadn't heard of this one, so perhaps this didn't come out on the Atari. And I see at the top there it says North American NTSC version. We will break the seal eventually, Martin, but hey, let's do it when I've got the camera zoomed in. Thank you, Mark. Very kind. Cheers. Cheers to you too. Now you're trying to bribe me. $100 if you open it now. I will share the opening with you. But really kind because, yeah, HK Renew had this on eBay listed at over $100. Now, that doesn't mean it's worth over $100 because nobody actually bought it. And he turned to me and said, do you know what? I'd really like to send it to you. But I'm sure someone would have picked that up eventually to complete their Psygnosis collection. So it's really nice to have. Thank you. 61%. Well, the artwork gets 90%, my learned friend. And it's always the game. Yeah, it is a US release. It's always the games that people don't want that are the hardest ones to find to complete the collection, isn't it? Thank you, Mark. Says the back wall looks great. Thank you. I need to get some pictures up on it. Over half bad. That's right. So the last thing I want to show you today, and we're going to have some fun with this, is something that you're going to get a full review on very soon with Mark and I. But I've got it set up here. Oh, it's this Pandora joystick, and if I move the HDMI cable into it and fire it up, bear with me. I'm just going to give you a little preview of the joy that is this stick. I just need to change something on OBS because the resolution changes and it plays havoc with the capture system. And I'm just going to hide the chat window for a bit so you can see what's going on here. So what is this? It's the Pandora all-in-one joystick. And all I really wanted to show you about this, because I say you're going to get a full review, is, well, the choice of games. It's a fighting stick, so we've got every single version of King of Fighters going here. But it gets a bit odd. At the top there, you can see we're on page 4 of 340. There's a huge number of games here. I did jot some down that I wanted to show you, but I haven't got the bit of paper here, but it doesn't matter because we're going to find them anyway. It does sound clicky. So we've got all the Neo Geo games, 3 count bout. We've got a nice little preview on the right-hand side. Jackie Chan. Got the Street Fighters. But if we go a little bit sort of deeper into this, we should find some oddness. I've not seen that before. Games with hot next to them. I don't know what makes them hot, but so from the fact we've got Streets of Rage here, you can see it goes into console emulation as well. We've got the Metal Slugs. We've got the Alien vs Predator. But let's go deep into the list and see what we can find. Oh, what? The Chaos Engine 2? That must have been a Mega Drive version, yeah. Mega Turrican there for Pete. How far do we have to go into this? Here we go. So we're at page 139, and this is where things start to get a bit odd. Have you ever played the game Man? Looks very much like Renegade to me. Winemaking? How about fur equipment? How about Water Pipe Brother? Have I had a game of Water Pipe Brother? Looks strangely like Mario to me. Peasant Uprising, yeah, I saw that one. Humpback Knight is actually a hunchback. Oh, this is a good one. Star Wars. Okay. What version of Star Wars do you think this is? Is the next one down? Do you think it's maybe the wireframe one by Atari? No, it's actually Surprise Attack. I mean, the name's right there on the screen. Could they not have just typed it in? There you go, Mark. You were asking for Cruise. Cruise Missile 2. Golden Axe. Disgusting Punishment. Actually, I'd like to know what this game is, Disgusting Punishment. It looks a bit like Russian Attack, but with karate. Oh, it's Surprise Attack. Is that what it is? Could do with some categories, couldn't it? Jesus. Goofy Warhawk? So I asked earlier, does anyone else have... I know, I moved on swiftly, my learned friend. Does anyone else have one of these Pandoras? And is yours the same? Dark moment. Clap the ball. Basketball. There was a really weird Pac-Man one I saw earlier. Just see if I can find that one again. If not, you'll have to wait for the video, the upcoming video. There's a lot. There it is. There it is. This was my favourite. And Mark, you didn't see this one when you were with me. Stuffed Bean Elf 1 is Pac-Man. And then below that, Funny Bean Elf 2 is Miss Pac-Man. I'll capture you that one for the video. Stuffed Bean Elf. It's my new favourite name for Pac-Man. Let's have a quick game of Stuffed Bean Elf. And then we'll wrap it up for today. Just to show you a game actually running. Yeah, and also Custado, there's a lot of duplicates. I don't know how many games we've actually got. And there's a lot of upscaling goes on, which we'll talk about in the episode. Oh, move Neil. Oh. Now, as Mark discovered when he was playing Burger Time, we haven't got the right gate on this joystick, have we, for games like this? For a nice four-directional game. But I've been watching The King of Kong, and I've learned where the spots are. Is it here? It didn't work. When I watch Billy Mitchell play this, he puts his Pac-Man there, and the ghosts ignore him. Let's try and find that spot. Is it here? Yeah, he sits there and they ignore him. No, didn't work. What am I doing wrong, guys? What am I doing wrong? Oh, Costado. Billy Mitchell uses MAME. Well, when I was watching him, it was up there. But you think it's... Okay, let's do this. Let's find it. Is it the bottom right? Here? Is it here? Direct me. It's like one of those old phone-in shows. Tell me which way to go. Yes? Yes. So if I stay there, I'm safe. Right. Maybe they fixed it in whatever. What was this called again? Stuffed Bean Elf is the updated version. So yeah, that's why we've run into trouble. Costado. Stuffed Beans Native. See, I just like looking at the names. Korean frequently asked questions. It's more fun than playing the games. Environmentally friendly. Ring Circuit is Super Sprint. Look at brick wall. Look at the brick wall. Anyway, enough of that silliness. You get the idea, and a little preview for you of the review that's coming up. I hope you enjoy it. And we're up to half 8. It's been an hour and a half, which is what we were aiming for, so I'm pretty happy with that. I hope you've enjoyed the show today. Thank you so much to everyone who sent in your video submissions. Thank you so much to everyone who donated. Very kind of you. I promise you, all of those super chat donations will go into the building of the cave. As you can imagine, there's so much to get. If there's anyone out there with a certain skill set that I'm looking for some help with, it's lighting. And what I want to do is I want to put some, you know, those, not a scaffold pole, but you can get those, I'm struggling for the word for it. What are they called? It's like 3 thin scaffold poles with the trellis work in between, big metal thing, and then you hook all the lights onto it. A rig. A rig sounds like the right word for it, a lighting rig. So I want to put lighting rigs because the beams are perfectly suited to put a rig between them. I want to put them above the exhibition area. I want to put them all over the place so that I can put spots and I can just get all the ambience and everything that I want. A truss, yeah, something like that. And what I've also done is I've put smart plugs all around, so I can just turn my my smartphone on, press a button, and it turns all the studio lighting on. I can check I haven't left it on when I'm at home. I'm sure you're all familiar with smart plugs. I'm just catching up. But it'd be nice to get all of it hooked up to that, you know, and control it. So I'll play with that. I need a best boy. Yeah, I need a gaffer and all of that. Mean Machine Dean might know some people. Drop me a message later. Thank you, Dean. And a key grip, yeah. So what we like to do at the end of these streams, if anyone's got any suggestions, is to give an RMC hug to someone that's streaming live, either on YouTube or Twitch. So if there's anyone streaming right now that we can go and raid, feel free to make some suggestions. I'll plug my PC back in and I'll have a little look. I'd be up for helping, says Naoki. Thank you, Naoki. Well, at the moment, I can't have anyone here other than Mark, but once lockdown's over, I'd very much appreciate your help. Thank you. Always quick to volunteer is Naoki, which is very kind of him. I'm just going to have a look at who's streaming here. Retro RGB is streaming CDI games, and where is he doing that? Is that on YouTube? You're welcome, Derek. Yeah, Retro RGB is live. So what we're going to do, I'm going to get a link in the chat for you. Oh, he's playing some CDI light gun games in his dressing gown by the looks of things. Has anyone got the link, please? Can you post it in the chat for Retro RGB's CDI live stream? 187 people watching. Thank you, Reese. Thank you, Pillock. I'm going to go and find that link. Bear with me. Ah, there we go. So Richard Shears has posted the link to Retro RGB. So if you want to head over there and give a shout of RMC Raid, that would be great. I'll see you in there. Fooflies, thank you for the £5. Thank you everyone for joining in. Sorry it was a little bit late this month, and there's going to be a quiz next month. So you don't need to put your videos together. Take it easy. Take part in next month's interactive quiz, which I'll get together for you. And I'm looking forward to that. And also, don't forget to look up Revision. It's the big Revision demo party very soon. Next month, I think it is. And maybe we can have a watch party or something and watch that together. Okay, I'll see you in Retro RGB stream. Thank you, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.